marriage universal, and he was a functionalist, so his definition was mainly from functional perspective of marriage, means what marriage function. From that perspective, he defined. So what he defined marriage universal? He defined marriage as an institution which gives a legitimate husband to wife and legitimate father to children. That was the definition given by Malinowski. Tell me, is it a definition or it is a function of marriage? So it is not a definition of marriage. It is one of the functions of marriage. Although he is Malinowski, most popular anthropologist in my opinion, but people rejected this definition. They said it is not a definition, it is function. However, a debate was triggered off on the subject of universality of marriage. As usual in the debate, two schools emerged. One school defined marriage universally with the criteria of legitimacy. Because if you set aside legitimacy from the definition of marriage, marriage can never be understood. So they take into account the criteria of legitimacy and try to define marriage universally. Second school, they said that legitimacy criteria varies from society to society. So therefore, we will not define marriage with the criteria of legitimacy. So first school जो है, in the first school, first definition was given by obviously universal definition. Notes and queries. It is a collective definition. Notes and query mean collective word. Notes and query define marriage as a union between a woman and a man, such that children are born to the woman, enjoy equal legitimacy in the society. So what is the definition? Marriage can be defined as a union between a man and a woman, such that children are born to the woman, enjoying equal legitimacy in the society. Now tell me, is it a universal definition? Why not? Because it contradicts polygamous marriage. It contradicts monosexual marriage. Because in polygamous marriage, there can be plurality of husband or plurality of wives. But he is referring to one man and one woman. So is it not contradicting polygamous? Means polyandry and polygyny in different societies. So according to this definition, these forms of marriage are non-marriage. But we have seen these forms are valid form of marriage in their respective societies. It also contradicts monosexual marriage, that is male-male marriage in Azande and female-female marriage in Chain India. And moreover, scholars raised objection on the word union. What is the objection? If you use the word union, that means after marriage, both husband and wife have lost their earlier identity and get a new identity. Is it correct? See, they have their old identity as well as a new identity. So therefore, the word union is not appropriate. So because of this, this definition has been rejected as a universal definition. Because in your definition, it should not miss any form of marriage in the world. And it is contradicting monosexual, polygamous, all forms of marriage. So it has been rejected as a universal definition. Then Catherine Gog, she studied Nair marriage. Nair marriage. And what is Nair marriage? Write it in 50 words. Because this form of marriage will be referred to many places in your answer. Write it and show it to me. Nair form of marriage. Yesterday I explained. Online students, you also write through doubt chats, or you can write it to me through WhatsApp. तुम लिख के दिखाओ. एकदम से लिख दो, हो जाएगा क्या? थ्रू दिस व्हाट्सएप नंबर यू कैन सेंड योर राइटिंग। तुम लोग सीधा दिखा देना। डोंट यूज मोर देन 50 वर्ड्स and do it within 5 minutes. कारण नहीं बताया,
ऐसा
कारण बताना चाहिए, थाली के टुकड़े लेना मिस कर दिया।
that kind
थोड़ा
of
थोड़ा एंथोपेरिकल होना चाहिए ना, सारे देख ली, कहानी तो समझ में आ गया, लेकिन सारी चीज देख ही ली तो अच्छा लगेगा ना। एक मिनट। अच्छा, नायर का जो स्पेलिंग है ना, AIR नहीं। युवराज, there is complete lack of flow. Many missing links are there. All of a sudden you are writing some sentence. तो ऐसा तो चलेगा नहीं, पॉइंट फॉर्म में क्यों लिख के ले आया? ऐसा चलेगा नहीं, लिखो। सब चीज पॉइंट में नहीं होती, समझे ना, कुछ चीजें पैराग्राफ में ही लिखना पड़ता है। दिस इज रॉन्ग अप्रोच। लिखो, हाउ कुड यू राइट इन पॉइंट फॉर्म? दिस यू आर एक्सप्लेनिंग ए स्टोरी।
supporting like
नोट नहीं, मैंने सिर्फ मतलब जो मैरिज है उसको लिख के दिखा, आंसर थ्रू। Actually, what students are doing, you know, जैसे I told that after studying Nair family, Kathleen Gog has defined marriage in the following way. See, I am not explaining Nair family because I have already explained in the last class. But when you are writing exam, you have to explain na, briefly what is Nair family. So Nair marriage, then only you write. The student ऐसे करता है. They think that in the note it was not explained, so I should not explain. See, in the exam, you have nowhere explained what is Nair marriage. The first write what is Nair marriage, then come to the definition. So, this kind of reference to Nair marriage will be at many places. This marriage is not known as Thalikattu Kalyanam. Marriage rituals are known as. Usually performed in Kerala by Nair tribe. बहुत सारे फ्लो नहीं, बहुत सारे मिसिंग, जहां पे मिसिंग लिंक होगा फ्लो विल बी मिसिंग, एंड फ्लो इज एन एसेंशियल एलिमेंट इन एनी डिस्क्रिप्टिव प्रेजेंटेशन। तो घर में लिख के मुझे दिखाना, जब तक फ्लो नहीं आ रहा है तब तक मत दिखाना। फ्लो चार्ट दे दिए, अरे केमिस्ट्री की इक्वेशन दे रहे क्या? क्यों? हर जगह पे फ्लो चार्ट नहीं चलता, हर जगह पे पॉइंट फॉर्म में नहीं चलता, समझा ना? जहाँ पे स्टोरी लिख रहा है वहां पे पैराग्राफी होती है, इसको काट देना और लिखना, आगे से ऐसे गलतियां नहीं करेंगे। वुमेन है थाली किट्टू कर लेना, वो कैसे?
मतलब विद रिचुअल हस्बैंड।
काफी चीजें, काफी कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्ट इज मिसिंग। यू शुड रेफर टू थाली किट्टू कर लेना, यू शुड रेफर टू ताराबाद, समझा ना? विजिटिंग हस्बैंड नहीं, कोई जरूरत नहीं है, इसे इतने वर्ड में आराम से हो जाएगा।
दो चीज जोड़ा, एक करावत निकाल दिया और एक की ये
थाली किट्टू कर लेना भी निकाल दिया ना।
फाइट करने जाते
फिर
हैं वो।
विजिटिंग, वो तो इंपॉर्टेंट है, दैट इज द रीजन, वो भी लिखना तो लिखना ही चाहिए। तो अब आ रहे ना समझ में कितने सारे प्रॉब्लम्स आती है। तो इफ यू आर अटेंडिंग क्लास ओनली, you can understand these facts. Unless and until you are writing on your own, you cannot present the facts. So writing is very important. ठीक है, और ये तो 100 वर्ड में लिख दिया। Beginning is very impressive. देखो, he has written marriage is an example of non-fraternal polyamorous marriage. अच्छा beginning। अरे एडल्टहुड नहीं, वुमेनहुड। See, Ankit, it is not bad, but you should use some anthropological word like Haliketu Kullanam, Terabad, visiting husbands. Refer to these words. Aditi, because of their political necessity, Haliketu Kullanam is not performed. कोई कुछ पूछा था तो सब लोग लिखे ऐसे ऐसे स्टोरी रेडीमेड लिख के रखे तो एग्जाम में अगर आएगा चांसेस काफी है यू माइट रेफर टू दिस स्टोरी तो आराम से लिख दो सो आफ्टर स्टडिंग नायर मैरिज she defined marriage universally. What is her definition? She defined marriage as a relationship between a woman and more than between a woman and one or more than one persons. क्या बोला? Marriage is defined as a relationship between a woman and one or more than one person, so that children born to the woman enjoying equal rights in his or her society. It is like old wine in new bottles. She just modified the definition of notes and queries and presented it as a universal definition. She has intelligently covered polygamous marriage. Wife, one woman and more than one person. But polygynous marriage, monosexual marriage has been covered. But this marriage has not covered polygynous marriage. What is polygynous marriage? Marriage between a man and more than one woman. Is this definition covering this form of marriage? No. This marriage definition doesn't cover man-animal marriage. See, person can be male, person can be female, but it cannot become an animal, which is practiced by Bantu. See, Bantu practice man-animal marriage. This definition is not embracing man-animal marriage. This definition has also not taken into account concubinage practice in China. What is concubinage practice in China? When there was feudalism in China, feudal lords married to a woman which was a illegitimate man. Along with the legitimate wife, they could have kept a concubine or keep. Concubine. Relationship of feudal lords with concubines were illegitimate, not socially approved. चोरी छुपे करते थे. But interestingly, children born out of the relationship with concubines were legitimate. That was according to social norm. आपको मानना पड़ेगा. The relationship of feudal lord with concubines are not legitimate, but their children are legitimate. So this definition by Kathleen Gog has not incorporated this form of marriage. That's why her definition has also been rejected. It is not a universal definition. To be a universal definition, you should not avoid any form of marriage in the world. ठीक है. I've come to the second school, which did not take into account legitimacy criteria for defining marriage universally. So to this school, Prince Peters belonged. He defined marriage by taking into account the roles performed by husband and wife, without taking into account the legitimacy aspect of marriage. He believed that legitimacy in marriage differs from society to society, and there are various forms of legitimacy across the world. So therefore, if you want to define marriage with the criteria of legitimacy, then it is not possible. That's why he defined marriage with the criteria of roles performed by husband and wife. And his definition was outrightly rejected. He defined marriage as husband and woman have certain roles and obligations in an institution which is called marriage. Did you understand anything about this definition? So क्या हुआ? His definition was outrightly rejected. ठीक है. After the discovery of various new forms of marriage, now it is accepted by all anthropologists that universal definition of marriage is not possible, because there are hundreds of forms of marriage. There are hundreds of ways of giving legitimacy to marriage. If you want to have a single definition with all these forms of marriage and all these forms of legitimacy, it is simply impossible. So what are these forms of marriage? There's a marriage among Maria Gond and Masai. In Maria Gond and Masai, if a girl likes a boy, that boy, with the consent of girl, can stay few days at girl's residence. During this brief stay, they can undergo sexual relations. If after that they like each other, they will marry. If they do not like each other, boy will pay some compensation to girl's family. Relationship is over. So here sexual intercourse is legitimate, yet it is not called marriage. ठीक है? Then man-animal marriage among Bantu. It is also a new form of marriage. Then youth dormitory or ghotul in many tribal in central India. It is a community organization which is raised on the periphery of a tribal village. It's a like club where young boys and girls meet regularly. They are taught about values of the society. They are imparted education as how to collect minor forest produce. At the same time, these young boys and girls are given sex education. And as part of sex education, they are supposed to indulge in sexual intercourse. So this sexual intercourse between young boys and girls are legitimate, as in marriage. But this sexual act doesn't come under marriage. See, whenever you refer to marriage, it always legitimatize sexual relationship. So here sexual relationship is legitimate in Ghotul, but it is not a marriage. So it is again making the definition difficult. Then Irula. Irula is a primitive tribe living in Wayanad district in Kerala, जहाँ से राहुल गांधी जीता है, तो चला भी गया. Among Irula, younger brothers have access to elder brother's wife, and they are called little husband. If children born out of the relationship with the younger brother, they are legitimate children, and fatherhood goes to the elder brother. Again, making the definition difficult. So now it is clear that marriage cannot be universally defined. Think why we define some entity, so that we can understand that entity easily and briefly. So when definition is not possible, universal definition, then should I or should we not know this institution briefly? Should we study all the different forms of marriage? Then only we will come to know the institution of marriage. So scholars have agreed that when through definition we cannot know the institution of marriage, then we can refer to the functions of marriage. Differ from one society marriage India. It is a community organization which is raised on the periphery of a tribal village. It's a like club where young boys and girls meet regularly. They are taught about values of the society. They are imparted education as how to collect minor forest produce. At the same time, these young boys and girls are given sex education. And as part of sex education, they are supposed to indulge in sexual intercourse. So this sexual intercourse between young boys and girls are legitimate, as in marriage. But this sexual act doesn't come under marriage. See, whenever you refer to marriage, it always legitimatize sexual relationship. So here sexual relationship is legitimate in Gotul, but it is not a marriage. So it is again making the definition difficult. Then Irula. Irula is a primitive tribe living in Wayanad district in Kerala, जहाँ से राहुल गांधी जीता है, फिर चला भी गया. You know, among Irula, younger brothers have access to elder brother's wife, and they are called little husband. If children born out of the relationship with the younger brother, they are legitimate children, and fatherhood goes to the elder brother. Again, making the definition difficult. So now it is clear that marriage cannot be universally defined. Think why we define some entity, so that we can understand that entity easily and briefly. So when definition is not possible, universal definition, then should I or should we not know this institution briefly? Should we study all the different forms of marriage? Then only we will come to know the institution of marriage. So scholars have agreed that when through definition we cannot know the institution of marriage, then we can refer to the functions of marriage. Forms of marriage can differ from one society to another society, but these functions of marriage are universal. What are the functions of marriage? First function जो है, it ensures sexual gratification, which is an important biological need. ठीक है, first function. Second function, it ensures so it regulates sexual behavior of men. Second function. Third function जो है, marriage laid down the foundation of family, because without marriage children cannot be born, and without children and parents human family cannot be constituted. So therefore marriage paves way for the foundation of family, which is the basic unit in every society. Fourth function is it ensures social continuity, because only after marriage children are born legitimately, and they are the future member of the society. So it is marriage which ensures social continuity. Marriage ensures many socio-economic cooperation among the parties involved. It can ensure cooperation between husband and wife. It can ensure cooperation between husband's family and bride's family. So these functions are universal. Forms can be different, but these functions are universal. So therefore, to understand the institution of marriage, we should refer to the function, not to any universal definition, because defining marriage universally is not possible. क्लियर है? कोई डाउट? तो some things, there are many things which cannot be defined. जैसे tribes in India cannot be defined. So this topic is also over. अच्छा, write conclusion of this topic at home and show it to me tomorrow. Question will be simply write a short note on universal definition of marriage. So write conclusion of this question at home and show it to me tomorrow. Online students through WhatsApp. Chalo, thank you. और कैसा लग रहा है सब्जेक्ट? सही लग रहा है? मजा आ रहा है? तीन लोग लिखा. ऑनलाइन में भी लिखा, 3-4 लोग लिखे।
Thank you.